It's Monday, and this is the Morning Booster. Welcome back, everybody, for another week of opening boosters and conversation about Magic the Gathering. In today's video, I'm going to focus in on the cost of Magic. Talk a little bit about these high-end boosters that have been rolling out as I open up a Core 2021 Collector's Booster. So why don't we go ahead and get started by first opening today's booster pack. All right, so for this episode, we're kicking things off with a cat token. And here's the critical thing when it comes to these high-end booster packs, like the collectors, like the Double Masters and the Double Masters VIP, is that there is a larger or greater expectation when the investment in a single booster is so much higher than the typical pack. Now, I'm fortunate that one of my local friendly gaming stores sells individual booster packs for about $3 each, a little over $3 plus Illinois state sales tax. So you're looking at about roughly $3.25, $3.30, give or take a few cents. So that's a pretty good price per booster pack for your normal sets, your Core 2021, your Ikoria, etc. Then you go up to that next level, which are the color-themed packs that we've been seeing, such as the ones for Ikoria, where you can buy just white cards and it has one rare, one mythic in it, and those run around $7, $8 a pack. After that, then you start getting into these really high-end ones, like the Core 2021 collectors or the Ikoria. Now, with Ikoria, what I found interesting and what really got me excited about those collectors was the Godzilla cards. There was something specific about them that made me want to go out and purchase them. They are extremely expensive, and that's my opinion. For some people, that's an acceptable cost, but when I look at $25 or roughly $25 for a booster pack, it is a barrier to entry, if you will. It's not something that I am typically going to want to spend because, frankly, for $25, I can go get 8 regular booster packs. Now, granted, they don't have the Godzilla cards in the case of Ikoria, but with Core 2021, there's not as many cards I'm chasing after. There's not as much stuff that I'm excited about. Yeah, obviously, I'd love to get a Grim Tutor or a Teferi in one of the alternate art forms, but they're not enough motivation for me to buy a lot of boosters. So that's why even now, I'm only on my second collector booster pack. Really just don't have a lot of excitement around them, but I still want to kind of open up a couple, see what I get out of them. Kind of going back to the cost of these types of packs, though, one of the things right out of the gate that's really disheartening is if you can see it here on the cat token, there's a print line there, which is just terrible. It's an obvious mistake when it was being printed. Now, again, if this was in a $3 pack, I wouldn't care. Oh, well, foil's wasted, not a huge deal. But when you're talking about a $25 pack and you see a line on the very first card that you open in the booster, that doesn't bode well for what's going to be inside it. And I'm not talking about whether or not you're going to get the cards you're looking for, but just whether or not the cards are actually going to be of near mint quality, or are we looking at cards that are closer to very good already? I mean, for example, with this cat token, yeah, it's cool. I'll throw it into a playable deck, but at the end of the day, it has no resale value. And I am a casual collector, so keep that in mind as well. I'm only looking at this as somebody who takes pleasure in collecting the cards, filling up his binders, and looking at his set from time to time. I'm not somebody that is a hardcore investor that's buying lots of boosters with each release in the hopes of generating a profit or making a living off of it. And there's nothing wrong with that, so I don't want to make it come off like I'm criticizing anybody that does it. You know, I admit I watch the Alpha Investments channel. I enjoy what he talks about. I find it fascinating, but it's not a life that I would want to live. I feel like that kind of life would be one that I quickly would get frustrated with because it takes what I consider a hobby right now and turns it into my livelihood. And sometimes I don't feel those mix very well. It's the same criticism or complaint I have with Games Workshop stuff. I love it to a point, but as soon as it starts to feel like it's a job and not a hobby, I quickly lose interest in it. So seeing this token already come out of the pack damaged is really discouraging, and actually something that I'm going to write to Wizards about. I usually don't complain, but again, when I'm paying $25 for a pack, I expect all the cards in the pack to be pristine. So with that said, our first card was a cat token. Now here's another thing I've noticed too with the videos that I've watched. I've seen that a lot of them, it seems like the cards in the boosters are just shuffled randomly in terms of positioning, order. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Even here, it's kind of interesting just to see the token card is sitting on top. And let's flip this over just to see if there's something on the back, which there is. So there's a cool dog token. Again, fantastic. I love this card. I'm going to add it to my collection, but the fact that the card out of the pack through no fault of my own is damaged frustrates me when I'm spending $25. But with that said, why don't we go ahead, we're going to grab this whole thing, we're going to flip it over here, let's take a look. So we've got a Wish Coin crab in a foil. And the foils have always kind of been a love-hate relationship. I still always equate them to the comic book thing in the 90s when every cover was foil and you were paying $5 versus $2. It's a gimmick. I don't know if it's a gimmick I particularly care for, but again, when I'm paying for them in the $3 booster, I don't mind the gimmick, but when I'm putting in at $25, just because of common cards in foil, doesn't really hold a lot of value to me. So our next card up, Run Afoul. Pitch Burn Devils. So this guy here has got a pretty high casting cost. He's a red creature devil card. When Pitch Burn Devil dies, it deals 3 damage to any target. So decent amount of damage, decent power and toughness. It's a foil, but it's a common. It'll go into a binder with all the other foils, but it's not something that I will ever expect to get any value out of, nor is it something I'll play purely because it is a foil, and I do like to keep them separate from my playing cards. All right, next up we've got Thornwood Falls. Now this is something I do like with Core 2021 and Ikoria before it, were these dual lands, and I shouldn't say dual lands. I know dual lands are something different, but these life lands, I guess that's maybe what you should be calling them, or I should be calling them. It's nice to see that they're commons because they help folks like myself and Z, where we're just putting together casual decks. The fact that we can get these kind of land cards that really help with our mana, just as a boon. You know, I love the dual lands. I have a set of them from back in the old days. Maybe at some point I'll do a video on those. But the point is that they're cards I would never play with because of the value of them. But with these, I don't mind because I've got so many of them, I can throw them in the deck. And they're not perfect. They're obviously not as valuable in the game as the old dual lands or even things like the Pain lands. But they're sufficient enough for casual play that they do a fun little mechanic with gaining the life. And they give you some options to control your mana pool better. So I do love them. Having a foil one, it'll go in my land binder of commons because I love just the artwork of lands. But again, yeah, I don't ever expect these guys to be worth much. Okay. All right, so here's our first uncommon foil, Obsessive Stitcher. So it's a human wizard. So you draw, tap him to draw a card, then discard a card. Then for 2 mana, a black and a white, or black and a blue mana, you can sacrifice the Stitcher, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So that is a decent card to have. Now it is black blue, and I know Z's been working on black green, so it really doesn't fold in well with his current deck, but it would be something if we can get the non-foil version, we would definitely add it to his deck to see what we could do with it. All right, next up we have... All right, Faith Fetters. It's an enchantment aura. Pretty cool artwork there. I like it. After that, I have... Ooh. So again, going back to the lands, I have a lands obsession. I really do like these. I don't know if they're box toppers. They got all these other terms. Again, when you watch guys that have been doing this with more serious intentions, they know all the names. Oh, that's a box topper versus an extended art versus a what have you. To me, this is just the limited edition forest card or land card that is coming with the Core 2021 set. I like these. I think they look fantastic. I'm actually going to be adding to my wall of Magic cards a set of 5 that will be these cards from Core 2021. I don't have them all in foil yet, but I'm going to try to get them because I feel like they embody the spirit of Magic, and with having a theme on one of my walls dedicated to Magic, it fits right in. So love these cards, love the artwork. This is Jonas Desraux who did this one. Beautiful artwork. So love these to death. Ooh, all right. So here is our first Borderless, and this is Sublime Epiphany. Now, we've seen this before. We actually saw this in the Teferi deck that I reviewed a couple weeks ago. But now here we're seeing the extended art version of it. Or is this the box topper? Again, half a dozen or another. Point being is that this isn't the standard card you would get out of a regular booster. I don't know if this has a lot of value. As you're watching this video right now, you see that the value or what it is worth right now is up on the screen. Beautiful art. I mean, this just, again, some fantastic art in this set. And this one in particular looks like something that you would see in an art gallery, in my opinion. It's just, it's surreal enough. It's interesting enough that I could see somebody wanting to do like a full picture. I wouldn't, because it's not necessarily my favorite take on what blue represents, but it is definitely a very cool card and a very powerful card when you look at all the options you can do with it. All right, next up we have, ooh, so we've got Chandra, Heart of Fire. So this is a foil legendary. Now we've seen this one a few different ways, but it's cool to see it now in its foil version. So now I think I've got every one of the Chandra cards out of Core 2021. This one, the standard, and then the alternate art versions. I don't think there are any other ones. So it's cool to know that I've at least knocked off one Planeswalker. Obviously, it's not the big two that everybody's talking about, spending tons of money on, but still, I'll take it. Glad to see it. Heroic Intervention, and this is the box topper, extended art, whatever we're calling it. I'm laughing because this card has value, but this is now the 6th time I've pulled a Heroic Intervention out of a booster pack for Core 2021. So I don't know what it is about this card coming to look for me. At first, I thought it was going to be a different card that would be my Dirge Bat in the set, but now I'm really coming to the conclusion that a Heroic Intervention is Core 2021's Dirge Bat for me. I just keep seeing it. And so here now, I think I've got every version of this card as well. Again, that's a good thing. It's got some value to it. What I've been told is that it'll keep its value over time because it's a popular card. So we'll see. I will definitely keep this one. This is not something that'll go into the trade bucket for later times. But we are not done yet. So next up, we've got, oh, Liliana Stewart. So we've seen this one. Nothing really exciting there. I'm just going to kind of move past it. Ooh. So then we have got Garruk's Gorehorn. Seen that one before. And then there's our Containment Priest. I know at some point I would have to get one of these. This is a card that I've noted in a lot of videos of the Core 2021 collectors being open, where there seems to be an overabundance of this card. Kind of thinking over the last few weeks, I would say typically watching guys that are opening up whole boxes of the collector boosters, they're getting probably somewhere between 2 and 3 of these per 12 packs, which seems to me to be a little excessive, but I don't know if Wizards puts out any kind of statistics on releases, so I can't necessarily say that is excessive, but it really does seem to me like it is, considering this is a rare. All right, so next up we have we've got Teferi's Protege as a foil, and then we got Garruk's Uprising as a foil as well. So wow, if we really look at what we got here, let's take a look back here real quick. So the Heroic Intervention, that's a good one to have pulled. Our Chandra's pretty good one, and then our Sublime Epiphany. And I think the rest are just fair at best. So 4 decent cards, none of the mega ones that everybody's searching for. How about we'll shift these over here because I can see we've got a bit of a glare coming off. So none of the mega ones that I think anybody's chasing for. I think of all of these that I've gotten today, the one I'm most pleased with is probably the Heroic Intervention, purely because now I finally have all versions of the card. The Chandra is also a pretty good one as well. But that is it for today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or questions, leave those down below. I would love to hear your thoughts on these high-end boosters. Is it something you like, or do you think that Wizards is going in the wrong direction? So definitely leave your thoughts there in the comments below as well. Otherwise, and as always, thanks for watching. Till next time, everybody.